So we're working on the big brake kit from Vick Autosports. So the way this works is the spacer goes on first now, and then the rotor is going to sit on top. But if you look, the rotor is edged here because you can see the gap. There's a gap. So this is flat, and then when it mates up, it doesn't fit. So there's a gap between the contact points. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and put it on there and then torque it down, and you're gonna bend something a little bit and it'll fit flush, but it'll probably be out of balance or a little bit wobbly. So come back in with the Dremel tool and the sander, and then just recreate this angle. And so what I did on the hub side was, there's some schmutz on there. Even though I sandblasted it, it's still a bit raised. So I kind of went in there and turned that down. And then pick a side, any side, but whatever side you pick, you're going to leave on there forever. And then we're just going to grind an angle on this. So I got the carbide bit on the Dremel, and then just be your own machine shop. Go slow. Oh wait, another trick. So take this, set it on there and spin it. Didn't work. Really, you could use any sander type tool. If we put this here and then spin it, that should do it. I like that. So that's 60 grit. And you're close. Is cool. Hey. Yeah. So now, wake up. So now we're flush. And then this one's ugly, so I'm gonna fix it. So that's that. So we got that on. Let me move this. And then this is our brake rotor. Ah! Just doesn't want to cooperate. And then the rotor sits on top like that. And then the reason I paint the hub and the rotor and the inside is because I don't like the way it looks when it rusts. So you can leave them bare. They're just going to get rusty. And then you got to clean them all the time. This way I don't. There was some talk about paint thickness versus torque and all sorts. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I've never had a wheel fall off because I painted the hub and the rotor. It just, you know, there's paint on the wheel. right? So it's okay. I just don't want it to rust, and I like the way it looks. So next up for the brake rotor kit is studs. So because we're not running the little dealy-doogers anymore that hold everything and spaced out correctly, we're getting rid of these. So you can tell by the way they look that they went in about that far, which is good enough, right? I mean, that's a pretty good purchase. It's almost the thickness of the rotor, of the hub. But Vick Autosports has this stud kit, and it comes with these chromed out lugs, and then it comes with the driver to put them on. I need to make more. Another clean spot. There's too much going on back here. Okay, so you're going to drive them in with a 6mm Allen, and then we're going to put Loctite on them so that they don't fall out. Not that they're going to fall out, but so that they don't back out all the time. And this has got some paint on it. Oh no, it's fine. Just run them down till they stop, and then torque them in a little bit. So what does this do for us? Well, instead of having to line everything up because we don't have the little holder pins, we can just drop it on. And they're longer, so we can run a thicker hub or a thicker wheel or a spacer to get the right distance in case we have any rubbing. And honestly, it's just easier to work on the car. Now then, it is possible to over torque these and drive it all the way through. Don't do that. There's threads and then there's a space. So what happens is this space gets caught up in the threads, and that's where your torque comes from. But if you do it too much, you're just going to thread it all the way through. Don't overdo it. So now, when we got to work on the wheel, we just put our spacer on, and then we can put our hub on. Our rotor. Sorry. And there, it's all lined up. This thing does have a dent for that. So does this. Even though we don't need them. I guess what you could do... Nah. I'm not doing that. What I will do is offset them so that it's more balanced. How's that? Cool. Okay, so stud number 1 is in. This hub. Now, the only problem with these shins, when you're walking by, boom, you're gonna put your shin on it and it's gonna hurt. So be careful when you gotta walk past the car. Fortunately, they don't stick out that far, but still, shins not fun. Sometimes I think this thing is on, but it's not. So these are the lower links out of the paint booth. They're directional. So passenger side, driver side. Before I painted it, I stamped it with a little D. That way it helps me remember. I'm not sure about the rods. They don't look directional, but I stamped them anyway. And then I put some grease in there, and now I'm putting the boot back on. And I don't really like those clips, so I'm just using some safety wire. Basically, pressure holds it on when it's installed. But this is stainless, so it won't rust. And you might want to over tighten it, but don't over tighten it. You'll just break it. You'll cut it. So I blow them out with compressed air. That gets all the schmutz off the top. And then you can see it's got little channels in there for the grease to go in and work itself around. And I use this just so I don't get my hands dirty. And then you got to move it really far away because it doesn't matter. It's going to get grease on everything. And then the boot just pops over. And there's a groove. And just get it in the groove. So those are done. I don't really need to put all this together, but I think I will, just so I can show you the rest of the brake kit. The driver's side, see, because shock strut goes up, ball joint goes down, and ball joint goes like this. You could try to put it on the other way, but it'll stop you from putting it in incorrectly because it's tapered. So that goes in like so. And then I need my nut. So our other rod mounts here. It goes this way. We'll get to that. So we have our caliper, our pads, our brackets, and our bolts. And so this is stainless, so we don't have to worry about it rusting, which is good. And if you want to, you can polish it up, but it is stamped, well, laser etched right and left. That way you don't mix them up. So right is passenger side, left is driver's side. And now would be a good time to look at the instructions. So this is gonna mount like this. And then what you do is the kit comes with the bolts. These are stainless. And then we're gonna take one of these and this is gonna go through like this. And then a lock washer. And a doodad. And I'm gonna run this one through here. So the spacer spaces this part out to make it the same. We put our spacer back on. And then we put our rotor on, which is all cool. And then I can tip that like that. Yeah. Really? You're just gonna pop off? I'd like to put a nut on there just to hold it for assembly purposes. So that'll hold the rotor on. You want the brake bleeder up, not down. So then he provides you with a lock washer and the stainless bolt. And then what you got to do is line this up with this. So we line up the bolt hole like that. Come in here. Nothing. Got it. Let me line this one up. Okay, so now our brake caliper is on there. That works pretty good. And then for brake pads, we no longer have to take the back side off. So to put the pads on, we're going to take this bolt loose, and then this thing's going to pop out. Then we're going to spin this out. And then this will rotate like that. Clean the cobwebs off. And then we can put our pads on. And then there's a note that says remove metal back plates. And then there's some stainless bolts in there. Really only need one. So to get these backing plates off, it's not that hard. So they're not glued or anything, they're little tabs. So you can just run a utility knife underneath them and it'll pop off. And then your brake pads are just gonna pop in, or you could pop them down right there onto the sliders. And then the little springs are so they're, you know, squeaker stoppers. And then we're gonna go like this and find our happy spot. And I'll push this in so you can get your, take this, grab this, like that. That's why you remove the backing plates. So it's a little tight on this side, and that could be a couple of things. The couple thou on the paint, but I doubt it. It's just because it's new and it'll need to be worn in. When we put the tire on it and bleed it, we'll gauge it and see what it is, and we'll take it for a run and burn some of that pad off, and then everything should be fine. As long as we can get it to turn, we'll be fine. So it's not hard to do. 3 bolts. You take the old stuff off, trash it, put the new stuff on. Got to grind a little bit on that inner ring, and then it just goes together. So pretty cool. When we put everything back on and bleed it up, then we'll know. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day.